Kapichat!
Right.
All right.
All right. Good day.
Yeah. Nice bit of Wisbech musical history in the background.
Yeah. Yeah. Behind you and behind me is probably I can't remember which one of those two venues would have been the first place I would have seen and probably not met, but seen our guest today.
It was here for me, upstairs.
Who else was playing?
Oh, I really don't remember. I'll perhaps need him to reel off a few of the names from the time.
Yeah. Can I reel off some now to see if you remember, or was this make good conversation with him?
No, give me some, and I'll be a bit more knowledgeable then.
Forfeit.
Oh, Forfeit, yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely loved them.
Yeah, which was Paul Cribbett, who's a singer of them. Friend of mine. I used to get. He lived in Sweden for a while, going back to some personal history of people from Wisbech. And he used to have snooze. Do you know snooze at all? What snooze are? They're little bags of tobacco. Put them in there.
Oh, yeah.
And so after he lived in Sweden and came back to UK, because I used to work in Sweden quite a lot, I'd always bring him back some snooze to remind him of home-ish. Yeah. But anyway, that's Forfeit. Who else would there have been? One Car Pileup. They played. I remember doing it. Yeah. My band at that time called Sphincter played a gig with those bands, and so it'd be Forfeit, Vanilla Pod, and One Car Pileup, and that was at Angles Theatre. It could be that the first time you saw them might have been a gig that I played at.
Could have been, actually.
So we opened, we had about 10 minutes worth of music, and probably awful, but yeah, and then I think it would have been Forfeit, then Vanilla Pod, and then One Car Pileup.
Yeah, I need to check out Forfeit again. I don't know if Forfeit have made it onto the streaming sites, have they?
I don't know. See, when we were talking the other day, you were saying about the band that did the Spice Girls cover, did Wannabe.
Yes.
And that was Forfeit.
Was it?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was upstairs at the Angles.
Yeah.
Were you there for that?
Yeah, I was playing.
Oh, that was the gig?
Yeah. But that used to be part of their set anyway. So it wasn't just a one-off thing, I don't think. So, but I played at a gig where they did that. It was good.
Now, I wonder if, because I went to that, I went with Joe, your cousin.
Yeah.
I wonder if I was there because, I don't remember, or because he went because you were playing.
Probably is, yeah.
I don't remember that connection, but it's possibly, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, I bet it is.
Well, there we go.
There we go. First time we ever met.
Yeah.
Unknowingly. So Stupid Pod brings back some big memories for us.
Yeah. The Forfeit doing Spice Girls Wannabe always crops up in my memory bank every now and again.
Yeah. It was good. I remember they hit, because Paul Cribbett was singer. I don't know any of the other members. I can't remember them anyway, but the only thing I do remember, the guitarist had kind of bleach blonde dreadlocks and always used to wear a really cool checkered jacket that with furry collar that I always wanted. But I don't know who he was. Steve, our guest, will probably be able to tell us this. But unless he hates him. I don't know if he hates him or not.
Remember your first time at the bowling green?
Again, probably would have been a gig that I played at. Because I'm not sure I really started going to these gigs until I was actually playing in them, probably. And so again, I did an all-day at the bowling green, which would have been, I bet Vanilla Pod played that as well. And it would have also been, in fact, I know it was Combat Shock with Matty Humphrey.
I was probably that one as well, because that's my first memory of the bowling green. It's an all-dayer.
Yeah.
And
Combat Shock.
Combat Shock were playing.
Outside, out the back, on the back of a lorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, I played that. And the drum kit that's being used was Craig Hurst, who was our drummer. So
Don't remember that.
we played Wipeout. Did a cover of Wipeout. It was awful. And but no, yeah. So I played there. That used to be great fun at the bowling green, didn't it? Yeah, back in those
It
days.
did. It was just chaos, wasn't it? Like
Yeah, it was.
safe chaos.
Yeah, it's brilliant.
I don't know
Brilliant.
if it was safe because we were oblivious to the dangers back then, but
Probably.
it was just a Sunday afternoon being 15, getting shit faced.
Yeah.
It's a nursery now, isn't it? It's a,
It is, yeah. I think it probably. No, it doesn't say.
our guest is in the waiting room. Steve is in the waiting room.
Is he? So he's beaten Lewis to it.
Yeah, we can't do the gag with Lewis now.
No, I told him to come on at exactly 8 o'clock. So, should we give him 3 minutes waiting in the waiting room?
Let's just see if Lewis appears.
Yeah, we got to give Lewis a little bit of time. By the way, anybody who's watching and wondered why we keep talking about Lewis is because Lewis is going to do a guest appearance as a Capitan, one of the Capitans.
Yeah, I'm a bit annoyed though because he was meant to be here at 1:45, and we're going to do a gag. We planned this little gag to make out that we didn't know why we were here. I was going to phone you and pretend to be on mute.
Yeah,
It's going to be our best gag yet. It was going to really outdo the accents than the hiding we did.
it would have been good, but
Lewis is here now. I'll let Lewis in quickly.
yeah, let Lewis in. I could have foreseen problems with technical difficulties.
Oh, there always is, though, isn't there?
Hey, look at Lewis. Lewis.
Lewis.
Lewis.
Lewis.
Lewis.
Lewis.
Lewis.
Lewis.
Lewis.
Take your time, Lewis. It's not as if
Lewis.
Come on.
No hurry. Trying to do a professional thing here.
Oh, Jesus Christ. This is going to be...
Connect to audio, boy. Lewis is connecting.
Yeah?
I'm here.
Yeah.
Wait,
Lewis.
we were just saying you're late and we can't do the gag now.
Oh, sorry.
We had a great gag lined up.
Was it great or was it?
We'll do it afterwards. Once our guest has finished later, we'll hang on for a couple of minutes and we'll do the gag.
Yeah. God, you will.
Right, okay.
You will laugh.
I mean, that's building the suspense now, though, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, we'll do it if we've got time for it. If not, we'll have to do it on another one. But
Yeah.
we'll see what happens. We'll build it up, and then
No, we'll try and hang on afterwards so we can have a quick chat about things.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nice. Right, back in a minute, Lewis. Just got my quick phone call, all right, mate? Just back,
Okay. Yeah.
back in a minute. How'd you mute this thing? That's it. Got it.
Yeah, I've just got to go make a phone call. Hold on. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah, Steve's mate. It's me. What's he doing here?
I haven't a clue. I don't know. I don't know. I thought we cancelled it.
I don't know. We sent him the link and then we decided that actually he's a bit of an idiot and we don't really want him on it.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, why would we want Lewis on there? I mean,
God, he's here now. We're gonna have to put up with it. He's here now.
yeah.
Just be nice. Just be
All right.
polite. It'll
Sure.
soon be over. All right.
Right.
Just bye.
Oh, Lewis. All right.
Hi,
Right.
Yeah, you're right.
It's all right.
Hey,
Just Well, yeah. This is everyone who's watching. This is Lewis, drummer extraordinaire from Fuzz and The Felts.
Hey.
Oh yeah. Right.
This is my real background, by the way.
Oh, is it not a picture?
No.
Oh.
Oh,
Look, I can interact and everything.
I can too. Look.
Uh-huh.
See him giggling.
Uh-huh.
Oh.
I'm a bit concerned about your wardrobe. They didn't open. Are they fake wardrobes?
It does open. It's just I think the door's dropped because it's so old.
Who's in the family picture behind you?
Me and
Oh,
you, Steve.
shit.
That'd be weird if it was.
Yeah, it is actually. It's Simon and Steve. I don't even live here anymore. I don't know how she's got a picture of you.
You don't even know whose house you're in. You've just walked into
Yeah,
someone's house
yeah,
via
yeah.
Wi-Fi.
Yeah, it's just like I can't wake the kids up, so I'll just walk into someone else's house.
Yeah.
All right, it's 8 o'clock. I need to let him in.
Yeah, let's do it.
Now. I've pressed the button.
Oh. Hey!
There we go.
Hey, he's connecting to audio. Connect.
He's
Yay!
Hello,
Can you hear it? Hello.
There we go.
How you doing?
Good.
We've got an extra guy with us today. We've got Lewis here.
Hi, Lewis.
You're all right, mate.
Yeah, good man.
Yeah, Lewis is a drummer, so don't listen too much to what he says.
Yeah.
No, I tend to just make noises.
Well, most drummers do, don't they?
Yeah.
I live with one, so he's a noisy little bugger.
How you doing?
Good, really good. And you guys?
Yeah.
Next to the bowling green in the background there.
Yeah, and Angles Theatre. Bit of reminiscing.
Yes.
Yeah, we've been having a little bit of Vanilla Pod reminiscing before you've come on about kind of where we first saw Vanilla Pod, where our first kind of punk night out in Wisbech was. And so I was just saying that I first saw you guys upstairs at the Angles, and we just figured out it must have been with Forfeit, one car pile up, and Steve's band Sphincter.
Yeah. Remember that place very well. They were brilliant. I used to love, it was pretty vibrant in Wizzo then, wasn't it? You know.
Yeah, it was brilliant.
Yeah, it was really good.
We were talking about we were talking about this with Matty Humphreys the other day as well. Is like the all day at Bowling Green with. I'm pretty sure you would have played that as well. Combat Shock were there. We were there again, and oh God, I can't remember.
On the back of the trailer in the beer garden.
Yeah, that's the one.
Funny enough, I think that was when we played one of those. That was Rob's first proper gig with us.
Was it?
Yeah, because we did have another singer for an interim beginning when we first started up, and it didn't really work out with him. He only last like 2 or 3 months just while we started up.
Right.
And then Rob come in and joined in the summer.
Yeah.
We started up in February. So but that would have been his his second gig, because the first gig with him was over at Great Yarmouth.
Was it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Steve Potter. I'm gonna have to differentiate which I mean, aren't I? So I'll call you Potter. You need to do your introduction, please, to let everyone, whoever's watching this, who we're talking to tonight.
Yeah, everybody, this is Steve Pitcher, legendary King's Lynn guitarist of Vanilla Pod, Billy No Mates, currently of Transit Plan, and all-round nice guy. Superb electrician, so I hear.
On the face of it, yeah.
So Steve, we've not actually met before, so nice to meet you. My name's Simon, but
I think we did speak when when you played the Snuff gig over at Stanford.
Yes,
they come up to you and said hello. Right. After that, yeah.
So I was we're going to do lots of reminiscing tonight, but I was reminiscing back to the mid-90s in Wisbech, and got to be totally honest, that's when I started playing guitar when I was about 15. Yeah. And it was because of people like you at the Angles and the Bowling Green.
Yeah.
It just blew my mind to be that age and to be faced that close with live music for the first time.
Right.
And it was just so inspiring. Like I could go when I was a bit older, I'd go to the bigger gigs at arenas and stuff. But it was those first early days of experiencing live music in places like the Angles and Bowling Green, which made me want to learn guitar. And actually, kind of my first dream I'd ever have would be, I really want to play a gig at the Angles or the Bowling Green. That was like achievement number one that I really wanted. And it's because of you and Vanilla Pod and Forfeit. So thank you.
Well, that's nice to hear. It's like, it's mental, really, isn't it? You just, what you do just seems normal. And when I suppose back then, that was everybody's footstep into playing gigs, and people first saw gigs and their introduction into live music, and you don't really think about it at the time, do you? But I think as you get older, then you realise that, oh right, okay, is this live then?
No, it's being recorded.
I can say fuck,
but we don't
fuck or bugger.
We don't fucking edit it. It just goes as it is. So
the panic.
No.
No. You can say what you want. If you say anything illegal, we'll edit it out.
There for a minute, but
All right.
No, I share that same sentiment with Simon as well. Actually, to be fair, because I was you obviously my band at that time was Sphincter. We weren't great. We were young. We were kids. We were all 15, 16. We had Craig Hurst on drums, who was 13.
Yeah.
And he was who I got into the music through, really. Him and his brother James.
Yeah.
They were the ones who were playing me all of the, at the time it would have been Survivor of the Fattest, would have been the big album, which had a varied amount of bands from Fat Records, and you'd be sitting listening to those. And we try and cover every single one of them, because every single band in Wisbech and Kings Lynn at that time seemed to want to cover a song from that album.
Of course, yeah. Yeah, that album, Fat Comps were people's introduction to sort of punk rock, really, because you know, here you go, have a listen to this, and that was kind of a stepping stone for so many people.
It was. I remember having a tape cassette of a recording of Demamusa Babonk by Snuff, and that blew my mind as well.
Yeah.
And because we always used to cover Martin on that, which I think, again, every band of our age in that area did, because it's 3 chords and it's really easy, and it's a brilliant song. But it's that all stems from those guys and from the gigs that we were doing around Wisbech and Kings Lynn at the time. And it's all your guys' fault that we do what we do, I'm afraid.
Well, that's a privilege and an honour to hear that. You know, it is crazy, because when we first started out. But the funny thing is, when we first started out, we wanted to get out. We wanted to get out and play. So we would only play probably. We always kept it no more than two or three gigs locally a year, I suppose. So because we all, you know, that was always the bigger plan, was to get out, and not because it's better anywhere else, but I always thought if you just end up playing the same gigs up in your hometown all the time, then it kind of, you know, people get bored of it. So we always did try and venture out and try and do stuff, but it was when we did put a gig on, or we try to make it an event and make sure the bands were good, or who we brought with us to play with as well, and stuff like that. So it was a bit of an event, and you know, back in them days, man, it's like you put a gig on out of town, you know, one of a village hall, and people would go to that.
Yeah, they would.
You know, because it was just nothing else to do, and just had the glut of wanting to see live bands, and it's mental. You know, my first gig I put on was at where was it? Carrington St Clement's Village Hall, I think.
Yeah, my home village.
Yeah, and you know the old tin shed sort of village halls.
Yeah.
So that was the first. Would have been about 1988, 89, I guess, something like that. And that was the first gig I ever put on and played. And loads of people came.
Yeah, I was gonna speak to you about. Let's ask you about this, really, in terms of. Well, we can talk about what it's like to be in a band now and the differences and how the world's changed and stuff. But back then, I mean, you're talking late 80s. I started being in bands kind of mid 90s, late 90s. But looking back, it all just seemed like it was so easy. Like you'd be playing a gig and people would turn up. It'd be that simple. I mean, you might just hit the nail on the head. There was less to do back then, maybe. There weren't as many distractions, maybe.
I think probably so. If it was a live, but we always would flyer and poster. And hassle people. We'd even put an ad in the local rag, you know, stuff like that. So we would always flyer and poster and do stuff trying to get the word out about it. Which, you know, I think nowadays that has gone. People don't do flyering and put posters up anymore because it's all social media. But even still now, we still printed posters off, handed out flyers for Grand Town. Even on our last gig, you know, when we had our last one, we still flyed it and posted it, and you know, did it the old school way. Because you can't be actually putting something in somebody's hand saying, "Come to this gig, it's going to be really good."
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, so
there's a million Facebook events out there, aren't there? And people getting 5, you know, 10 a week or whatever. Well, we used to, but You know, but now, but actually getting out around town or whatever on a Saturday afternoon and sticking a flyer in somebody's hand, or going around the college and you know, putting stuff up, it still needs to be done. And if you're going to put a good gig on, then that's what you still have to do.
It's a more personal approach as well, isn't it? I think it's a good way of doing it. Rather than it doesn't really mean too much having an invite on Facebook, I don't think, because you're not having somebody coming up to you and actually say you should definitely come to this gig. It's going to be fucking brilliant or whatever, and give you a flyer. That's definitely going to make you want to come to it more. I would have thought.
I think so. I don't, you know, and we like I said, we still do that with me and Rob with the gigs we put on.
Yeah.
We still flyer it, go around town, go to the gigs, flyer gigs, you know, and it's just important that you do so. Just keep reminding people and give them a little nudge, you know.
Yeah. I mean, what we're discovering this year, because we're sticking out loads and loads of music this year to try and as an experiment almost to see what it's like to fast track everything, to see what you can do and just be really creative with it. And we've come to the conclusion that the old school method of just talking to people, even I know we're using technology now, but just by getting face to face with other people and talking, rather than doing Facebook posts and Instagram posts, just talking to a few people gets you so much more success, more listeners, more interest than just putting something on Facebook, because people are so bored of it.
What you guys are doing just amazes me. It's like I could never imagine doing, but right, the amount of stuff that you guys are doing is crazy, but it's brilliant as well. Do you know what I mean? And it's all good stuff, and it's like, whoa, and it's nice to see a proactive band, you know, wants to do stuff and doing something different, and you know, that's just little things that keep stuck in your head, isn't it? That
it really is testing things out. I think if you put out 2 EPs a year, you don't dare try different things because you really want it to work. So you just go through the standard format of how things work now. But by putting out 12 albums in a year, it gives us opportunity to, if albums 2 and 3 no one listens to, it don't really matter because we've got another album next month. So it's just really trying different. It's ridiculous, isn't it? But just trying different ways of doing it and different approaches. We've just done some homemade, or Steve has some homemade CDs. So because we've had some people who are like, we don't do online music. Do you do CDs? And we're finding that the target kind of age group that are listening to us is 40 plus, and not surprisingly, it would be.
I love vinyl, so I mean, if I put a release out, I love it. I love it to be on vinyl, but it's so expensive.
Yeah, it is. Yeah,
and you have to have so many of them to make it cost effective as well.
Yeah,
but still, because we was talking, me and Tony from Transit Plan, we was sort of discussing about what we're going to do with the EP, what we stuck up online and stuff. And ideally, I'd like to do a small run of 7 inches, but still, I think it's still important to do something physical that somebody can buy, whether it be a CD or something. I think it's still, you need that to have it, even if you give it away. What's it cost? 50?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I agree with that. We're doing the thing of we're doing the CDs, or we're chucking in some stickers, and we're chucking in some free download codes and stuff like that for other albums if they want them. And so even if you buy the CD off Bandcamp, for example, you get the free download with it anyway, but we put a free download code and we write on it, say, give this to some friends or something like that, just to try and spread the word in that kind of way.
Yeah.
It's
just before we move, I want to talk a bit more about like technology in a second, but whilst we got Lewis here, who's our Peterborough correspondent, Peterborough venues, because me and Steve know Wisbech and Kingsley, and we got that boxed off. Did you play Peterborough much back in the day?
We always used to play the Crown. That was where we first started off playing at the Crown. And that would have been the late 90s, but when we first started playing there. And then the Park from the place.
The Park.
Then we played there quite a lot. Club Revolution was the guy, Chris, who used to put us on there.
Right.
And we had some brilliant times in Peterborough, you know, and they've always been very welcoming and kind to us as well. Because I suppose we was there back in the day with doing that sort of thing, you know, we was playing with bands like Triple H and stuff like that, and you know, just help to create that scene as well. And then you'd have us and then Balance come in as well, who would be doing stuff, and Cap Down as well, obviously, you know, and we all started out playing them small. The Crown was the initial one, the back room of the Crown pub. and yeah, and then later that shut down, and then it kind of moved to the park, which was another great little, well, not that little, but it's a brilliant venue. We had loads of good nights up there.
Yeah. So Lewis doesn't really remember the 90s. He's a bit too young for that. He's missed out on a good era, I think, there for the bands.
The Met Lounge is still there, isn't it? So
yeah,
we've had some good nights in the Met Lounge as well. So yeah, yeah, they were the main three really. But yeah, definitely we played so many gigs back in the Crown back in the day. Probably our first gigs would have been Peterborough, Cambridge, the boat race at Cambridge. That would have been the Crown, and then the local gigs in Kings Lynn and Wisbech, like the Bowling Green, even the Bell. We did an all day at the Bell, and I think they played that.
Was it in Wisbech?
Yeah. Did you play that one?
Yeah, five bells.
Five bells. Yeah.
Five bells.
Yeah, we played
that.
I'll put it on. I just remember I had the cargo net and stage area. Suddenly you remember things. But yeah, I can't remember what I did yesterday, but
I agree. I can remember this bowling green all day. I was talking to Simon before we did this. When we played that, we did bloody I remember half of the songs we played. We did a cover of Wipeout for some reason, and I know that Craig's drum kit was used for the whole night, and it's just ridiculous things. But like I say, I don't remember last week, and it's ridiculous. But so what bands were you in? What were you doing before Vanilla Pod then? When what bands were going before then?
My first ever band was a band called Cardinal Red.
Right.
We managed to play Wispy's bandstand.
Yeah.
Wow.
So that would have been about that would have been about 1988, I guess, when we played Wispy's bandstand all day there, and then like I said, the gig at Torrington, and then they broke up and reformed a different band without me. That old chestnut, because I was into my thrash metal and stuff like that, and they were more progressive and wanted to do more prog sort of stuff. So fuck that shit. So I decided to sort of form a funk metal grungy type band called then we went and formed this band called the Weatherheads, and did a few gigs, played out of town, and played, I remember we played a place called the Royal Standard in Walthamstow.
Right.
And we because we were on tour, we had like a tour of like 4 gigs, I think, and so we decided to camp outside the taxi rank outside the Royal Standard in tents in the middle of the fucking road. It's like, what on earth were we thinking of, sleeping in the middle of Walthamstow and next to a taxi rank in tents, but we were on tour, so we weren't going home. So that was that, and then after that, we pretty much sort of formed Vanilla Pod, and that would have been 95. So yeah, I sort of dipped in and out of bands, but then I sort of formed Vanilla Pod with Steve, who was from Wisbech, Steve Kemp. He was in a band called Groove Spider.
Right.
Who were like a funk metal band and stuff, and then I took Gary with me, who was the drummer in the Weatherheads at that time.
Yeah.
And then we got this singer called Paul, who was in the Gary's, just to sing through songs. I think we did like 2 gigs with him, and then we knew early on that he was going to write uni. So then we got Robin pretty much straight away, and then that's where we started. Once we had a singer, we had a lineup, and we could start developing what we were doing, I suppose.
Rob was only young when he started with you guys, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was 15 when he started. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'd pick him up from school for band practice, and come in his uniform. And when we had gigs and stuff, we would again pick him up from school and take him off to these dodgy pubs and play gigs. But that's probably why I ended up in the years, isn't it? It all makes sense. Realise.
But it was also different then. I think I must have been 14, 15 when I was first coming to see you, but I'd just go in the Angles at 14, buy a bottle of Nuki Brown, and be there having a drink on a Sunday afternoon at 14, 15, and it was just normal. No one was checking your ID.
No, and I think you know, there's no harm in it, is there?
No.
You know, it's like, right, and we all did it. You know, I just wanted to go and see bands when I was that age. It was just, yeah, it just worked. Yeah, it worked out all right. And you do. It's like you just went doing the thing and off you went.
Yeah. I was just thinking actually when you said when Vanilla Pod first formed, if that was now, the first thing bands would do would sort their Facebook page out, get the logo up there, get a few photos on there. But back then, when you formed a band, you would just rehearse and book a gig.
Yep, and get a demo done as well. You know, if you could get a demo, 4 tracks just on a tape or whatever, just to get gigs really as well. That was the goal. The goal was always to get out and play gigs. And so you needed a demo to do that. And that's how it all started. Writing to people and sending your tapes off and letters in with it, and it was more of a personal touch then, I guess, rather than just press send.
Yeah. Do you still have loads of those old? Do you still have loads of the old flyers and everything that you used to hang out?
Yeah, I've got like a box full of them and old demo tapes and stuff like that. It's probably got some on the cupboard here.
Do you ever think about kind of releasing any of those old demo tapes or anything?
No.
Okay, there's those kind of demo tapes.
No, I ain't got no tapes. The tapes must be hid away somewhere. But it's the way to do it. But no, I wouldn't want to release it. I listened to our first single, what we released and it's like, oh my god, it's just it's mental how things has changed, and just the production and everything as well now. With home recording and how easy it is to get a sample of this to go onto that, and it's but I preferred it. I preferred going to the studio and recording on reel to reel and doing it like that, and because you knew there wasn't none of this cut and paste. If you got it wrong, you had to do it again. Or stayed. If you couldn't really notice it, it stayed. And I think music has become too perfect.
Yeah, it has. I agree. When I was at college doing music, studying music technology and everything, we did the studio there at the college in Kings Lynn had the reel-to-reel recorders and it had the digital recorders. We did loads of recordings on the digital ones, which I've got a lot of them, but we did loads as well of different songs on the reel-to-reel ones, and I've never heard those since. And so they've got to be at the college somewhere. I think I'm gonna have to break in one night and go and find these.
Well, look, my oldest Louis goes to the college, so I'll tell him to go keep your eye on it.
See if we can go and find the reel-to-reel tapes of a really shit band who are doing a lot of noise. There's probably about 10 tracks of just literally noise going on in there, but
it was just I used to love it. It's like it was good, and you had to be rehearsed to go in the studio. You had to songs in and out, and although sometimes you have the odd little gem which you put together while you was there. So when we did Surrounded by Idiots, we didn't have Surrounded by Idiots wasn't finished. And it nearly didn't make the album because we was in the studio. We didn't have no words for it. We just had like the main part of the song, the riff and everything like that. And we just decided to put it down musically and see if we could come up with some lyrics and stuff on it. But we could have wasted the whole bit section reel on that, but we gave it a spin because we thought it would be all right. And that come out as the album title of the track, the track of the album. So but we had to, but we were still rehearsed in that we knew how the song went and what we were doing.
I was reading an interview online earlier that you I don't know if it was you or one of you guys had done for shoutlouder.com, kind of talking about your 20 years of Vanilla Pod. And in 2018 you ended up in Japan.
Tell
us about that, how that happened.
Oh well, we should have gone. Like we was due to go like 3 or 4 times, and it never happened. It got cancelled. We were booked to go out when Surrounded by Idiots got licensed to a record label in Japan, as which which was a good thing, and it was well received over there, and so we sold quite a lot of units over there. But we never. We was booked to go on tour, and then it got cancelled last minute and stuff. Fortunately, before we booked the flights, so it was always kind of a goal of mine to go and play there. Ever since my metal days, I suppose, seeing all these metal bands playing in Japan and stuff, it was the mecca, I suppose, of being a rock star. So I always wanted to go, and that was kind of probably the deciding factor in finishing the band was when we got asked to go to Japan, because that's I've pretty much done what I wanted to do, but then with it, and we were still kind of sort of not in, so people still knew who we were and stuff like that, right, rather than fading away. So thought that'd be a good time to finish it, be doing that, and then having a final tour. But yeah, it was great. It was good fun. It was only we did 5 gigs, I think. But yeah, it was just such a lovely experience to find out, get out there and do it. And it's like it is a different culture and a different experience. And everybody was so lovely as well. People would come to the gig because these people would come with every single one of our records. So they would say, "Can you sign it? Can you do this and that?" And it's like, "How did you get this?" And, they literally would come with everything and get you to sign pictures, their picture frame, and take it away with them.
Oh, brilliant!
Yeah, it's crazy, and because you don't realise that people have probably been waiting for us to go out there for that long.
Yeah, that's amazing.
And it was lovely to happen, and yeah, it was a lovely experience to finish up with doing that. I'd like to do it again at some point. Whether I'd just go as a tourist again, but you never know, do you? But
well, it sounds like if you went as a tourist, you'll get mobbed by the sound of it.
It wasn't that. There weren't that many people. Don't be fooled. There were like people queuing around the corner for my thing.
So, how's a gig in Japan compared to the European gigs, or what country have you had the best kind of gigs in? What's been the best kind of crowd?
Well, I would say, I think Hong Kong was very good.
Was it?
That was really good. Yeah, when we went out there, and we only did 1 gig there, but that was just mental. Germany's always been really good, and Holland, we've had good fun in Holland as well. Yeah. Switzerland was really good as well. So yeah, obviously this country, but yeah, I would say probably Hong Kong was just unreal playing that place. That was an experience as well.
Yeah, was a big crowd. Were they just
all and so up for it before we went on, and it's not many bands really at that time went and played there. For whatever reason, I suppose because of the expense and stuff of getting there, and it's just going there for one as well. But it was like great. We played this big youth centre. It was like an all-dayer with loads of other local bands, and it was brilliant. And that was such a good experience. That was a big old brings a smile to my face when I look back at that gig. Yeah.
When did you last play live?
Last gig, Pod's last gig.
Was it? You're a bit nervous about the Transit Plan gig coming up then?
Yeah, because we still haven't practiced yet.
Really?
Oh, well, God. So your current band Transit Plan is you, it's Tony from Revelation, Alex from Revelation.
Yeah.
Lewis, don't listen to this. Put your fingers in your ears, Lewis. Perhaps the best drummer I know of.
Yeah. I've got my earphones in. Yeah. I heard that, dickhead.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Absolutely amazing drummer. I actually recorded some songs with him when I was at college.
Yeah.
Just him and Chris Morris, 3-piece, just doing a load of fast about 3 or 4 1-minute punk songs essentially. And he is one of the tightest, quickest drummers.
Yeah, he's a great drummer. Yeah, and I've been very lucky and blessed with the drummers who I've been in bands with over the years. And I'm lucky enough to have a good pedigree of people
Yeah.
in the kit were in my past. Excuse me, I've just got to take this because it's my youngest. Finley, hello. Hello. I'm not yet. I'm just in the middle of an interview. Can you read, like, I'm talking to someone. I'm talking to somebody already. All right, bye. Sorry.
All right.
Right.
He's out skateboarding, and I know what he's after. He wants a bloody lift home because I told him
Yeah.
8:45.
No chance. No chance.
No.
Got to learn the hard way.
So who else is in Transit Plan? So it's you, Tony, Alex,
And Muttley from Revelation. So it's basically all three from Revelation and me.
Ah, okay, cool. So
And did you start that? Did you just have a conversation to get it started?
No,
How did it happen?
it started live back with Tony and Jay, who was the original Revelation drummer.
Yeah.
And Muttley as the Rebel Trio, or something. That's how they started, just a three-piece doing like a couple of covers, some old Revelation songs and stuff like that. And then I went to a gig, what they played, and I said, "What you really need is another guitar player." And so they said, "All right, then do you want to do it then?" And they went,
no.
and I went, "All right." And then we sort of started up, and we were called ourselves Black Block. Which was and I was that name never really sat that comfortably with me, being middle-aged men, not really protesting against anything, at our age nowadays. So and then I packed that in when I Vanilla Pod finished. I packed in All Music really. So then I packed that in then as well, and so I was just listening to the stuff what we recorded before we start, and I thought, it's actually all right. And just said, shall we give it a spin again and call it another name and bring it back as a whole new thing, something new. And they were all up for it, but we still haven't yet got together yet to practice.
So Tony's he's a legend of the Kings Lynn music scene, and he's been going around for years.
Yeah, I mean, when Pod started out and Rebels were just about the same sort of time as us, so I think they actually started just a little bit before we did. We would gig swap and do gigs together back in the day at the St Margaret's Club. That's where we would have been playing with the Revelation.
Yeah. I think my band at college, the Stump Tongue Experiment, did a gig with them in support of is some political support gig. I can't remember who it was. It's stuck in my mind what the support support was for. But yeah, we played that with them.
Oh, yeah, I mean, Revelation, just like a great band.
Yeah.
So good and so tight and so good at what they do. Obviously, they've gone towards the more reggae sort of rock steady sort of stuff, which is now they're not really a ska band anymore, are they? They're more of a
they're not.
reggae band, but they're great. And so Tony wanted to, because he's always been in the punk rock and and stuff like that. So he wanted a release of doing something else, and that's why we became where we're at, really.
Well, we'll be there for that Snuff gig. We got tickets for that, so we're going to be there.
Yeah, well, what a great first gig to get, really, isn't it?
Perfect, isn't it?
Hopefully it will happen. I can't, everything's pointing in the right direction, kind of, isn't it? So hopefully it will happen, and we'll get there with it. So mental getting people in a small room and lots of people in a small.
You can't just imagine that that venue now being completely rampacked like it was at that Snuff gig before lockdown, because that was the last gig we went to.
Yes,
played it.
Yeah, my last proper gig. I did go to a couple of sort of lockdown gigs, post-lockdown gigs in between, social business gigs and stuff like that. Only went, but just people into the room, being, listening to loud music is very alien at the moment, isn't it?
It is. You just can't imagine it now. It's got to happen sooner or later, isn't it, I suppose.
It has to. It's the most natural thing in the world, isn't it? It's crazy, but it just has to happen, and hopefully it will. And things seem, like I said, things seem to be sort of
Yeah.
in the right direction now. So
You can't do a gig in there and have the crowd in there socially distancing in that venue, especially. I think. Yeah, it would. It'd be awful.
There's just no point in that.
No.
And I don't, I'm not really sure how I'd feel about playing. So the two what I did go to, they were actually quite all right. They weren't too bad, but that's probably because I'm older now and I quite like sitting down and watching.
Yeah.
Having people bring your beers to your table and watching bands is quite a good, in my eyes, it's a positive thing.
Went to that Twisted Melon ones. I knew that outdoor one over there.
Yeah, I did that. I worked stage managed to help out at the outdoor one, which was really good. That was they did that, and it was very successful and put together and professional. It was it was perfect. Good for what when you think I'm not going to see anything at all live this year, and he pulled it off and did a great job. And it was still had an atmosphere. It was good,
Call to the Faithful played there, didn't they? And we had Matt on, the singer from Call to the Faithful, on our last chat, and I know they played there.
Yeah,
but it looked good. All the pictures and everything looked good for that.
It was great, and and it was for what it was. It was about as good as you were going to get. And I thoroughly enjoyed it. It was a good day. Unfortunately, the weather was good, which helped, obviously.
Yeah. I don't know if we were a bit stubborn, but we said from the onset, we're not doing socially distanced gigs. We're not going to do any of that. We're not going to do any of them live streams. And then kind of a year later, you're still waiting to do a gig. So I do wonder now if we should have done something. But
well, I'm glad you didn't do an acoustic live stream, because I'm sick to the back by probably the third week of lockdown of seeing people trying to play acoustic punk rock for So sometimes it worked, but it's like, oh god, another one,
No, by August last year, that was hard work, wasn't it? Seriously.
I had to leave Facebook for a little while.
He did. He left Facebook for a bit.
Yeah, I couldn't cope with it.
Yeah. You got in so many arguments, didn't you? You got in trouble.
I got in trouble a few times.
And you just buffer, and you say it's not hard enough to listen to as it is. Then buffering in 4 seconds, it's like, for fuck's sake, no,
So, you obviously play guitar. Are you really into guitars as well, or is it just something that you play?
I do love my guitars. I do. I'm never really. Once I've got something I like, I stick with it normally.
Yeah.
I don't go and try this and try that. But I do know what sounds I like, and I've always had Gibsons.
Okay.
Always. Probably before I had a Gordon Smith. That was my main one. Then when I got my SG, that was then my main guitar, and I used that. Nothing religiously, really, from when I got it in about 1999, 2000, I suppose, to probably last year.
Wow.
No, not last year, but then I've got a Les Paul, which I traded my Gordon Smith, swapped that with the Gordon Smith, and I used that for Black Block, which now turns into Transit Pan. But I've just recently gone absolutely mental and got a Fender, but it's still a humbucker pickup.
Now that one over your left shoulder, isn't it?
That one there. So that's my newest thing. So I'm going to give that a spin. Just sticking that straight into a JCM 800, and it sounds lush. Yeah, it does sound really lovely. So no clean sound, just straight in cranked up gain on a JCM 800 with a few little tweaks, and it's.
I was going to say, do you use much in the way of pedals, or is it just straight in the amp?
I always used to. It is straight in the amp, but now I have got I've been and bought a pedal board. This is because I've normally just plugged straight in the amp, because I can't be doing all the faffing around and things going wrong. So for me, if I can keep it simple, that's what I did, because I'm bound to knock something over or hit something, unplug something. So I always kept it simple. So before, I had a PB Triple X with a gain foot switch, and that just the amp would be and that would be it. but I am trying new stuff now. I do have a few different pedals, and only nothing major, just a chorus, and I've got a tube screamer, a wah wah, and like a noise suppressor just to cut the fuzz down on a few bits.
I mean, if you've got the right amp, the clean sound and the distortion sound on the right amp is more than good enough, I think, for a lot what you need.
Particularly for what I need. I'm not particularly, I've never really particularly played experimental music, I suppose, and stuff like that. So for my needs, to be fair, all what I need is a bit of dirt and a boost, a bit of overdrive on it, and bang, that's good enough. So yeah.
Do you play much guitar at home, just sitting there, or is it just when you're doing band stuff?
No, I do. I go through fits and starts. Sometimes I do. Depends what mood I'm in. And how I'm feeling. Sometimes I pick it up, and sometimes I don't. I've never been somebody to sit down and religiously practice or anything like that. I mean, I'm up to a level where I'm proficient in what I do, I suppose, and that does mean I'm never going to be a great guitar player or technically brilliant or anything like that. But it's more of the songs and the melody and stuff like that is, to me, the hook.
Play the songs.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
that's
exactly
exactly
what we say. Yeah. Whereas we reached a certain standard probably 20 years ago where we can do enough to what we need to do. I'm not bothered about being any better.
I mean, you think, maybe if I sat down and practice that, I'd rather just play. My buzz is playing a gig in front of people, and people buzzing off what you're doing, singing your songs, and and
I think trying to keep that as simple as possible is the best way to get a good gig. I think, to be honest, it's just why overcomplicate things, even with pedals and stuff like that. That's why I couldn't have a full pedal board or anything like that, because I'd just be so worried about pressing the wrong one and trying to remember which order I need to be pressing all these pedals.
That's right. Like I said, I have just recently got this pedal board, and we'll see how that goes. Whether that will last, I probably won't go back to my original thing. We'll see. Now my other boy's ringing me now. He wants picking up from work. Hang on, mate. Lou, I'm just doing an interview. Oh, he ain't even there. Yeah.
So speaking of Lou, he's the one who plays the drums, right?
Yeah, he is. Yeah. He's actually been recording this week. Hang on. He's ready to go now. I'll pay for a taxi for him.
Right. What a dad. What a dad. My dad wouldn't pay for taxi for me.
Well,
he'd say bloody walk.
He's been working since 4, so.
Oh, is he? Fair enough. 4 in the morning, I presume. That's working hard.
Yeah. And the mines.
Yeah, good.
So I could ring email. Sorry, guys.
Yeah, that's fine.
All right.
Single parents, you see in it.
That's all staying in, by the way.
Yeah.
Huh?
That's all staying in the video.
Yeah.
Might just put some incidental music behind it. Really dramatic music.
Yeah.
Everyone's just sitting there going.
So your boy plays drums then. He's recording. What's his band?
Kind of like stoner rock with punk and hardcore in like a bit of that, playing in fucking drop B. No, is it drop C? Drop C. Heavy, heavy. They're only a 3-piece. And it's good. Yeah, they've got all these great ideas, you know, and it's really good. And it's really interesting to have that, how they're bringing that sort of dirgy, sort of doomer, stoner stuff with, you know, with a punk and hardcore behind it and stuff. It's really good. Yeah, I think if they once they get themselves around and get out and about, I think they'll do all right. They've got new ideas, and it might not be everybody's cup of tea, but yeah, I think it's good. I think it's got legs. Hopefully, we'll see.
Nice.
Cool.
So what are your plans with Transit after the Snuff gig? What's the plan?
Yeah, just do gigs what are going to be fun. I think that's the thing. I'm not interested in traveling to, I don't know, Grimsby on a Monday night to play to 2 people or 3 people, you know, just to see if we can support whoever. But yeah, if it's fun and it will be worth doing, then we'll play it. I mean, if we can as well, obviously, because we all work and stuff like that, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, but it has to be fun, and I'm not gonna do something which isn't fun anymore. It has to be still get a bit of a vibe to go and do it and things like that, get excited about it. So yeah, who knows? You know, whether I'd like to think we could release something, but if we don't, we don't. If we do, we do. You know, it's just for fun, it's just enjoyment. We all get on really well. We've been mates for years and years, and it's just it's a bit more mellow to what I've been doing before as well. So,
we were listening to it earlier. Actually, it's good. I like it.
I was listening this morning.
Yeah, it's a bit different to what I've been doing in the past and for everything really, whether it be Billy No Mates or Menshevik or whatever, you know. So yeah, it's still got a bit of this groove, and it's having that hook. I think that's the with the earworm.
Yeah, definitely. So you still are you and Rob still planning on putting on plenty of gigs around Kingsley?
Yeah, I want to. I've been trying. I've been speaking, sort of in touch base with the Moultons again. They won't commit to anything until they know what's happening in June.
Yeah, it's fair enough.
So I'd like, because I was going to have a big old 50th birthday bash last year, because I was 50 last year.
Yeah.
Obviously that got cancelled. So I'd like to redo that this year, hopefully.
Yeah.
So yeah, which would be a good old bash. That's for sure. It'll be 50+1 then, won't it?
He had us. This is Lewis's fault again, right? Bloody Lewis. He's always the problem with this thing. We had us lined up to be playing one of your gigs. It was Rob's 40th.
Yeah, that's right.
Ducking punches. And bloody Lewis. Going a weekend away with his missus. And
was that the
oh yeah,
was that the one unit gig? Was that the which one was that? Was that the Jana Stark one, or was that the one unit gig?
I don't know. It was Ducking Punches. I know it was Ducking Punches at the Maltings.
That's right. That was Rob's birthday gig, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
It was a good one. Missed out there.
I know. I was desperate to play that because I love Ducking Punches as well.
I think at the time we had the quick conversation of, can we do it without a drummer?
So anyone can play drums, can't they?
Well, my boy could have filled in.
Yeah, well, there we go.
The songs ain't hard. They're not technical.
Bloody Lewis. Oh.
Yeah. Hopefully that will happen, you know. But like we'll see. Just it's so difficult to get. I mean, there's literally 2 venues possible in King's Lynn now, which is such a shame. But you know, things will change. Things will alter. I think as well, venues will realise that there's going to be an appetite for live bands again, and they'll probably be more encouraging to put live music on. Hopefully.
I'm hoping there's going to be a bit of a sort of renaissance of like DIY gigs again, like it was in the glory days. I just think people are generally going to be
up for it and wanting to do stuff. You know, I really do. I think, yeah, that when it happens, that'll probably last 6 months, and then everybody would say, "Fuck it." Yeah, that's why we didn't go in the first place.
Yeah.
But I think, yeah, I think there will be a buzz about going to see a live band again.
Yeah.
I mean, I missed it. I mean, I did probably lose my love for music, really, definitely for playing. And then because there was nothing, then it kind of made me realise how much I actually do miss it.
Yeah.
Even just touching on it again, just playing loud, you know.
Yeah.
Amplifier up and playing with other people and bouncing off that when you're jamming stuff and bouncing off each other and things.
They still do gigs. Well, when they can do gigs, they still do them at the Blue and Gold Club.
No, they haven't been doing any gigs there since they did it up. Basically, they sort of the new owners did it all out, and there hasn't been anything going on there. But saying that, I haven't asked. You know, so
that's always a decent venue, wasn't it? I think.
Oh, it's great. Yeah, we had some absolutely mental nights in there.
Yeah.
It was literally people queuing up to get in and round the corner to come into the gigs and stuff. And yeah, brilliant days. So yeah, it'd be nice if we could get that back, wouldn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
that's at the football club. For those who don't know.
Yeah, I've been there for something once. Can't remember what it was. But no, we're definitely keen to get something up and running as well. Some kind of.
So are you guys going to put gigs on in Wisbech again, or is there any way to play in Wisbech?
I don't think there is. Is there really? To be honest, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. To be honest, is the Angles even still there? I've been in Wisbech.
It's not done. It's certainly not done gigs upstairs for about 15 years. I think. Oh. There's the little theatre bit where there are a few acoustic performances on, but it's gone a bit highbrow. They wouldn't welcome us there.
You know, Wizzo played. Did you go and see Wizzo when they played at the Angles?
Yeah.
Did they play there? Did they?
Yeah, that was in the downstairs bit, wasn't it? Yeah. That was.
Yeah, I don't know that. It's amazing these bands coming to Wisbech, isn't it? It's just you can't imagine it now. You really can't. No. It was such a good time back then.
So no, I think if we put something on, it's going to have to be Peterborough, or I'd like to do Kings Lynn because it's a bit closer at home. I'd like to do it. I was born in Kings Lynn, so it'd nice to be a hometown gig. Yeah. So no, we'll have to see what we can do.
So your boys band, so is there some other good young bands there in Kings Lynn at the moment that you know of?
Are there any? There's a band called The Eluders.
Yeah, I've heard. I've heard brilliant, really good.
We used to work with their mother. Yeah,
but I'm not sure because they've sort of gone to university as well. Bree has gone to university, I believe. So I'm not. I think they're not split up, but I think obviously they've had to stop. I think they'll probably do something again. But they were really good, and they were a band who were starting to get a following as well. They were people come because we put them on, and there was they brought in people to come and see them. Which is for having a local band sort of first and second on, that's brilliant. That's exactly what you need to have happen.
Yeah. I think they played the Corn Exchange with Dead Reynolds, didn't they? I think.
And Jeff Vanner, wasn't it? Yeah. Jeff Vanner good.
Yeah.
So yeah, like that is the perfect way. But as in they're the only band that I know of locally who've started to get a buzz about them and start to do stuff.
Yeah.
But it's weird. It's like you think they would. There's just there's no rehearsal spaces for bands around here or anything like that either. There's just nowhere for there's no because back in the day we used to have John Savage's backs and his music.
Yeah.
But there's nowhere now. It's like if you haven't got a barn or a big house or out in the middle of nowhere, you're sort of stuck. You have to go to Norwich.
Yeah. Well, we've got a very good mother of a drummer of ours who's got a nice garage that we can use. So we're all right. They would come out of their depth because it's so kind of.
But that's priceless, isn't it? It's like when
brilliant.
we used to practice it, because we used to practice at my mum and my dad's.
Yeah.
You know, and then when we moved, then we started practicing down Ormore Lane in Wisbech. We used to practice down there, which was just an old storage room. And then we actually rented a room where we would practice. We rented it out as ours, paid a lease on it when we properly do as Vanilla Pod. And so yeah, we could come and go as we pleased in that practice room as when we wanted it, which was nice. But then but then I think we left because they decided to change it into something else. So that the old boxing club in Wisbech where we used to practice in there, hire that room out.
I think that's a dream, to have a place where you've got everything set up constantly, so you don't have to plug everything in and set it all up.
That's exactly it. We could just have everything there, just turn up, all our stuff would be there.
Yeah.
We use it as and when we wanted to, which was perfect.
Yeah.
But when you look back and think, God, then we're proper lucky to have that.
Yeah.
Basically, we needed the practice.
Well, you did have to. You definitely needed to practice if you needed to compete with bands such as Sphincter back in the day. You got to be on the top of your game to beat them.
Yeah.
Right, we better call it a day there. There's been an hour. We don't want to take any more of your time up. Sounds like your boy's coming back soon. And I think your glass of wine is empty. So
yeah, I better get top up on that.
Yeah. So you've got your when is the snuff gig? I've lost track of when it is. The
August, isn't it? August, the week before my birthday.
21st of August, I think.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Oh, you got a couple of months. You got a couple of months then to get rehearsing.
Yeah. Better remember how to play the guitar.
Yeah. And well, hopefully by the end of this year or next year, we can both be sharing a stage on.
I hope so. Yeah. We'll definitely would love to have you guys come play at some point.
Yeah, that'd be brilliant.
Be awesome. Really appreciate your time and getting to know you a bit better.
It's been enjoyable. It's been nice to see your guys' faces.
Yeah. We'll have to meet up properly soon. Yeah.
Been a year, hasn't it?
Yeah. It's a long year, isn't it? Oh.
Yeah.
I'm depressed now.
It's getting better.
But it's all coming back, so it's good.
Sorry?
It's all coming back though, so it's good.
Yeah.
All right, Steve. Appreciate that.
Thanks, guys. Lovely to see you.
Good to see you, mate. Cheers.
Thanks, mate.
See you later.
Bye.
Bye. How's the leaving thing? It's ever so awkward.
Isn't it? Yeah.
Because everybody tries to figure out how to leave for me.
There it is. Oh God, we're total techno fans.
Has he gone yet? Has he gone?
I can mute you. I can.
I can't even find it now, and I've done loads of
Oh, hang on. Turn his camera off. He's still there.
His camera's gone, but he's still there because I can see his name.
Oh.